यैवातेर्जिता सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्माद् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थितः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Hare Krishna. So, in this section of the fifth chapter, we are reading where it is explained that how one can attain the liberation by focusing on Paramatma. So, some of the symptoms who is liberated has been explained here in the series of verses. As Srila Prabhupada explains, that a rich person has certain symptoms by which one can identify that he is a rich person. Similarly, a spiritually advanced person or one who is situated in transcendence has to have some specific characteristics by which one can make out that this person is very, very advanced. So some of those symptoms has been described. So in this verse it is said, Yevater Jita Sargo. So Jita means conquered. One who has conquered what? Sargo. Sargo means the cycle of birth and death. One is already conquered the condition of birth and death. Who's that person? Yesham Samme Sthitam Manaha. Yesham, those whose manaha, whose mind is Samme Sthitam. Samme Sthitam means situated in sameness and equanimity. And the person is Nirdosham. He is free from all the doshas, he is flawless, and then he is Samam Brahma. He is equal to the Brahma. Brahma is addressed to the Supreme Lord. He almost becomes like the Supreme Lord. Means Lord is also Nirdosham. Lord doesn't have any dosha, any faults. And the person who is situated in equanimity, he is also become like the Lord, means he becomes free from all the faults. Nirdosham tasmat brahmani te sthita. And then they are already situated in Brahman. So Prabhupada writes here in the purport that equanimity of mind as mentioned above is the sign of self-realization. So many times people ask the question that how do we understand whether we are advancing in spiritual life or not? We have been practicing Krishna consciousness, we are chanting, attending the programs, reading Bhagavad Gita and all. How do we understand that we are really advancing or not? So there are some signs. So one of the sign of self-realization or advancement is equanimity of mind. Those who have attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material condition, specifically birth and death. So this is the one of the tests that we can have for ourselves, that equanimity of mind means we are advancing, we are getting towards self-realization or we are self-realized. Right. So great people are not those who have everything perfect in their life, but the great people are the people whose perspective or attitude towards everything is perfect. Not that they have everything perfect, but their perspective is perfect. And what is that perfect perspective about the life, about the situation is the Krishna conscious perspective. What is that Krishna conscious perspective? That they understand that nothing happens without Krishna's sanction. Everything, every situation, every circumstances that we encounter in our life, Krishna is in control. So either it is good or bad. Siddhi asiddhi samo bhutva. Either it is prosperity or any other problem, but they remain sama bhutva. They remain equal. And Krishna already said another verse in the beginning of the second chapter says sama dukkha sukha dhiram somar tattvaya kalpate. One who has learned the art of sama dukkha sukha dhiram. that one can remain equal in dukh or sukh, in happiness or distress, then that person becomes eligible to somritatvaya kalpate. He will attain the liberation. So here also in this word, tasmat brahmani te sthitaha, he is already situated in Brahman, one who is uh, have developed this equanimity of mind. So that is the symptom. How to attain that? So that can be attained only when we develop this Krishna conscious perspective. We can talk all these concepts and it sounds great. Oh, yes, we should be equal in all situations, distress or happiness, sukh or dukh, whatever, man, apaman, Sit, Ushna, we should all remain equal. It sounds great, but how to really practice it? So that practice is when we train ourselves in Krishna consciousness by reading the literature like Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, and also not only just reading and become theoretically parrot like, you know, uh, trained, but also we practice uh, the the practices which is given in the scriptures by the acharyas, and then gradually we develop the right perspective, and that perspective is Krishna conscious perspective, where we understand that nothing can move in this world without the sanction of the Lord. So if Lord has put me into some situation, then there might be some reason. So I need not to get disturbed. Let me just handle the situation with best of my ability while I'm continuing my practices, while I'm continuing my Krishna consciousness without getting disturbed. And that stage is already considered as liberated stage. We should understand from Bhagavad Gita that soul is transcendental. It is unaffected in its original state. Soul is unaffected by any matter, right? But then when we get attached to the matter and the material things, and then we think that certain things in this material world will make me happy, and then certain things will make me miserable. So something which make me happy, something which gives me pleasure, I love that, I like it, I want that. And something which hampers my pleasure, my sense gratification, and then I hate this. So this is all dosham, right? That hatred or attraction or hatred. So one should become free. Nirdosham. We have to become free from all these dualities. So all these dualities comes when we get attached to this material. Though the soul is transcendental, but we get conditioned when we comes in touch with this material atmosphere, and we develop all those biases, those dualities, right? But when gradually we train ourselves in Krishna consciousness, and then soul is rightly situated, and then it does not get affected by any material. But we understand that I am soul, and I'm only interested in spirit. I'm not interested in matter. I'm just handling. I'll handle all this matter because I'm in this material world, but I'm not interested in this. Right. So then once we are situated in that platform, we are already considered as liberated. Otherwise, there will be bondage. And what is that bondage? Bondage is very simple. The root cause of bondage is desire to enjoy, thinking that something will give me pleasure, something will does not give me pleasure, and I want to avoid which something does not give me pleasure, and that cause the bondage. So Krishna consciousness means that anything which is needed for my seva to Krishna, I'll accept it, and something which is not required, I'll not accept it. Simple. So there's nothing like I'm attached or I hate this. We are free from that. Something which seemingly looks like, I hate this, but if it is required for my seva, I'll accept it. And something which is very pleasurable, very attractive, but it is not favorable for my Krishna consciousness, then I reject it. That is Krishna conscious perspective. So in all situation, we remain, we can remain equal. Either it is happiness or distress. The so-called happiness, so-called distress does not affect a devotee who is situated in Krishna consciousness. Right. So the devotee is flawless, nirdosham, no faults. As Krishna said, dhiras tatra namuyati. A sober person, a person who is in knowledge, he is not bewildered by any kind of these dualities, any situation in this material world. How it is possible? By it is possible only by developing Krishna conscious perspective, that developing that right attitude. What is that right attitude? We get trained through the scriptures. Tatte nukamba susamekshamaanaha vanjana evatmakritam vipakam hirdvagvapurvirvididan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So, Bhagavatam explains that jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak, that one will uh, attain mukti pade, attain the liberation, daibak. That becomes the rightful claim of a devotee. The liberation becomes the rightful claim of a devotee whose attitude is this. What is that? Tatte nukampa susamekshmana. That anything, any situation which is coming in my life, it is te anukampa. It is Lord's anukampa, Lord's mercy, Lord's blessings. So the devotee does not think that only good things, good situations, good conditions in my life, they are all Lord's blessings, and something goes off, something goes as per my against my desire, my will. Then I think, oh, why I'm cursed? Why Lord is not helping me? No, that is not the understanding. He thinks everything is anukamba. And then the so-called reversals in life is he understand that it is all kritam vipakam. This is all my past misdeeds that I had to face all these situations, these circumstances. But since I'm engaged in Krishna consciousness, in the seva of the Lord, so all these situations are coming as a token reaction. And why it is coming? He understands that Lord has the purpose. As the scriptures explains, Bhagavatam explains, the purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord. So sometimes certain things are taken away, or desires are not fulfilled, or some situations which I don't like. So we understand that Lord is putting me into those situations to rectify my some tendencies, my tendencies to being independent in this material world. So something doesn't go as per our desire, then we naturally tend to take the shelter of the Lord, right? And therefore, the particular situation, the punishment given specifically, it is designed to curtail that mentality that produces that activity. So, although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. So, devotee understand that yes, I have lot of anarthas, lot of tendencies are there. I am still not fully surrendered, and Lord is being very merciful, as very kind on me, is putting me on those situations. So I give up all these attachments, this independent nature, and take the complete shelter of the Lord. And that is why I'm facing all those situations. Somebody is coming and putting me in those situations. I'm not hating this person because I understand that this person is just an instrument. But ultimately, it is happening by the sanction of the Lord. So let me accept this. So, this is the perspective of a devotee. And when we develop this kind of perspective gradually by practice of Krishna consciousness, then we are not disturbed by any kind of situation. We become nirdosham, become free from all the dualities, attachment or hatred. And at that stage, the equanimity of mind, that stage we are already considered as liberated from the condition of birth and death. Then it doesn't matter whether I am here in this material world or in the spiritual world. If devotee is engaged in Krishna consciousness nicely, then he is already in a liberated state. And Prabhupada, in one of the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, he confirmed this fact. He says, if one fortunately becomes Krishna consciousness, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana, Brahma Sthiti. He's already At a liberated stage, there is no difference. This is very revealing. I'm reading from one of the purport from the Bhagavad Gita 2.72. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord, since both of them are on the absolute plane. To be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. See, people talk about the liberation. People think liberation means, this life we have to complete somehow finish, and when we die, and after the death, we'll attain the liberation. But that is not the complete understanding, right understanding. Prabhupada is explaining the Lord's kingdom or devotional service, the seva of the Lord is on the equal platform. So if one is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. So here in this material world, somehow or other, if we are nicely engaged in Krishna consciousness, in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, we are already liberated while here living in this world, in this material body. So that is the revelation of the scriptures. In the material world, there are activities of sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. So this is so wonderful that after liberation, what we do if somebody asks, okay, what is liberation and what I'll be doing? So once we go back to Krishna, back to Godhead, that is the liberated stage. What we'll do? We'll be engaged nicely in loving devotional service in the Golok Vrindavan. That is what a person in the liberated stage does. But if that can be done here itself in this material world, in this material life, in this material body, then it is equal to liberation. And then Rupa Goswami also confirmed this in one of the verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He says, Iha yasya harer dashe karmanha manasa gira nikhilashu apyavasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. So he says, this person is jivan mukta sa uchyate. He said, liberated while here in this material world, in this jivan, in this life only he is liberated. Who's that person? Yeah, yasha harer dashe karmana manasa gira. One who is engaged in the service of the Lord with his karma, by his action, manasa, with his mind, and gira, by his words. So, manasa, karmana, gira, with mind, body, mind, and words. BMW, body, mind, and words. If we are engaged, then ajivan mukta sa uchyate. We are already liberated. And that stage, we don't want anything. We are not affected by anything. We become nirdosham. We become like equal to the Lord. Lord is nirdosham. We are also nirdosham, equanimity of mind. So when we are situated in Krishna consciousness, engage nicely in Krishna consciousness, understand that whatever happening in my life, it is all happening by Krishna's sanction, by Krishna's blessings. It is Krishna's mercy upon me, so-called reversals. But I should continue my seva. If the devotee is situated in that Krishna conscious stage, then he is already liberated. And we have many, many examples. The devotee doesn't want anything at that stage. Yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadigam tata yasmin sthito na dukkhena guru napi na vichalyate. So even the greatest danger come in his life, guru napi dukkhena, a very heavy problems and the miseries comes in life, na vichalyate. He doesn't get bewildered. He's not disturbed. Yam labdava chaparam labham. Because he has already attained that stage of Krishna consciousness. He's already liberated from all these conditions of birth and death, attachment or hatred. So this is what is the boon of Krishna consciousness, that while living in this material world, we can still experience the stage of liberation. And we have the examples in the scriptures. The scriptures, Bhagavatam is full of such examples. We have the example of Prahlad Maharaj, that how, despite all kinds of trial and tribulations inflicted by his own father, he was undisturbed. Nothing could hamper, disrupt his Krishna consciousness. He was constantly chanting name of Lord. And because he was chanting the name of the Lord, he was not disturbed by all those tribulations. So that is what we should learn from all these examples. Sometimes, some situations comes in our life, some challenges, some health issues or some other issues, and suddenly we get disturbed, or entire practice of Krishna consciousness gets disturbed. And then we try to justify that, I'm going through some phase. That is why I'm not able to chant properly. I'm not able to do seva properly. But we should understand that if we somehow or other strive to remain fixed up in our seva, in our chanting, or reading and hearing, then all the disturbances will not actually disturb us. We will handle them. We have to do what we need to do to just handle all those situations, but will not be bewildered by all those situations. So many examples, like in fact we see so Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada's situation, many times that in fact then Prabhupada was traveling to America in Jaladuta in the cargo ship. He got the heart attack. He survived because he knew that Krishna is my protector. Mare Krishna Rakhe Krishna Mare ke. So let me just continue. Let me just be focused on my mission, which is to follow the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, to spread this Krishna consciousness. And with that Krishna consciousness, he could survive even those severe heart attacks. And this is just one example, but Prabhupada's life is full of all those challenges. It was not easy for him to start this movement, you know. So that is why we say that the devotee does not mean that they don't have any challenges, any problems in their life, but their attitude, their perspective about all those problems are perfect, and that is why they remains equal, equanimity of the mind that can be attained by practice of Krishna consciousness. So this is what has been explained in this verse. Yevathe arjita sargo yesham samya sthidam manaha. Your mana, your mind is established in sameness and equanimity, then you become nirdosham like the Lord, samam brahma, tasmat brahmani te sthita, and that person is already situated in Brahman. He is already situated in the liberated state while living in this material world. So we can also experience liberation. We are not to wait to experience the liberation after life. It is not something Krishna conscious, not something which is offering the afterlife something. While we are living in this material world, amidst of all the challenges, and we can experience the blissful life here, in the stage of liberation, if we are properly situated in Krishna consciousness, and then gradually we practice to remain in sameness and equanimity. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts on this words. Let me pause here and see if anybody has any quick question or any comment. Anybody wants to add something or ask something. Okay, if there are no questions, then we'll stop
Hare
here.
Krishna Prabhuji, Sadar Pranam, our glory
Yeah.
Srishta Prabhupada.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. In today's class, you have mentioned about how everything happens with the sanction of the Lord, and explained about equanimity. So, in real life situations, when we face materially entangled people pulling you um, in the work or in the family or any situations, you understand that it is that you need a skill that uh, that you are missing, and you need to that is why it is happening to you, or your past karma. But then if it is not allowing you to progress in Krishna consciousness, if you stay away from the negative environment, people say that you are running away from the world uh, or situations. So mostly people say Krishna conscious people are always running away. So how do we answer such kind of
Yeah. So people
it
can say,
doesn't mean that we are running away, but we are trying to avoid the negative situations so that we can concentrate on our Krishna consciousness. So how do we answer them?
Yeah, it is very simple. First of all, people can say whatever they want to say with their limited understanding or their perspective. So we should not internally get disturbed of why he's talking like this. I am not running away, something. So one thing is we should know that probably they're in ignorance or they don't know that what I'm trying to do and what is goal of my life. So that is very important that you are not getting disturbed internally. And at the same time, externally we had to handle and we had to respond to such people and such situations. So based on the situation and the person's understanding and your connection, your relationship with the person, you can explain that it's not about running away, but different people have the different goal, what they want to achieve. So based on the goal and their preferences, their priorities may differ. Say the person, uh, you know, who is on some kind of, what do you say? For example, someone wants to build the muscles. He joined the gym. He'll take a specific diet. Wherein a person, you know, who thinks that I should cut on my diet or something, too much of fat I'm accumulating or something like that. So two different people can have the two different diets. So it is based. So there's nothing called that this is perfect, that is perfect. This diet is good or that diet is good. It depends on that what you want to do. So somebody is very health conscious, he will eat very healthy diet, some wild vegetables or something like that. So there's nothing wrong in that. So point what I'm trying to impress upon here is that if our goal of our life is Krishna consciousness, then we have to make the point that whatever is healthy diet for Krishna consciousness, diet in the sense not only just eating, but anything which is favorable for my Krishna consciousness, irrespective of what people say about that. I know this is my goal and I had to achieve this goal and I had to do. So let the people say whatever they want to say because they don't have the same goal. Their goal of life is sense gratification. So, but I'm not interested in sense gratification. So it's okay. And you try to explain that, my goal is a little different. I want to achieve something different. That is why my lifestyle is this, and I'm trying to avoid unnecessary negative situations, unnecessary conflicts, so that I can focus on my goal. So like that. So the two things, one thing is internally you should not get disturbed, and externally you try to explain that probably my goal is a little different. I'm trying to balance between the two things, and that is why this is what are my preferences. And if people understand, great. If they don't understand, what can be done? We cannot make everybody understand everything.
I mean, we are saying the same thing, but then they are coming back saying you are being selfish and you are not doing your prescribed duties by cooking so and so to your family members. Isn't that what your Krishna
Yeah, so
consciousness
one
is?
thing also I would add here is that there are certain duties at the material platform, like as a wife or as a mother, there's some responsibility to take care of the kids or whatever, cooking or anything like that. So a devotee learn the art to balance perfectly everything while practicing Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not the escape way to our material duties. In fact, Krishna consciousness is the way which educated us, which trained us to become even perfect in our material duties. Uh, we doesn't say that you are a mother, so now you are becoming Krishna consciousness. Now you're not to be like a mother. So you become a perfect mother. You become a Krishna conscious mother, more loving, more caring. Become a good wife, loving wife, and like that. So the point is, sometimes it may happen with the devotees that prematurely they try to renounce certain things, certain duties, certain responsibilities, and that will attract unnecessary criticism from our own family members and our near and dear ones. So one should be very, very careful that we don't become neglectful about our duties in this material world while we are practicing Krishna consciousness. Yes, we understand that my goal is Krishna consciousness, but it doesn't mean that I can neglect my duties. So, like the Arjuna was trying to escape from the fighting, but Krishna did not sanction. Say no, this is your duty as a Kshatriya. You have to fight. You have to shoot the arrows. But how to do that? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam manusmara yuddhaja. So while you are doing your duty, you keep remembering me. So that is the art. That is the balance. That you still do your duties, your material duties at your home, with your family, at your profession, at your work, and at the same time practice to always constantly remember Krishna. And that is what is the art that we have to gradually learn with the help of some other more experienced devotees. We can learn. So that way we can avoid all this kind of criticism and unnecessary, blames like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.